it's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for Season 9 of The Walking Dead. In this video, we're going to be looking at the biggest scene from Season 9, Episode 15, or arguably the biggest moment in the series up to date. Alpha's Pikes border lineup deaths. I'll share my thoughts and let you know whether I thought it was disappointing or not. To be completely honest with you, I absolutely loved the entire scene. The build-up, how it was carried out, and how everything came together, the cinematography, the music, the acting, everything. I was simply disappointed with the picks for the deaths themselves. It was great, don't get me wrong, it was emotional, shocking, but something was missing. It just didn't have the same impact it did in the comic book. It felt, in a way, watered down. It was missing that big character to really make us appreciate the scene. The character deaths that we got emotionally did hit all or most of the characters, or at least the important ones. They were shocking. The audience didn't expect some of the picks, specifically the last three. But again, it just didn't have the same impact. Going through the list of victims, the leader of the Highwaymen, Ozzy, and his right-hand man. These were good picks. Obvious picks, I would say. These two deaths were disappointing though, for two reasons. One, none of the characters were really emotionally attached to them, and of course the audience too, although Siddiq's story definitely did help that a little bit. The second reason is that they made it so obvious that they were gonna die. The moment they were introduced, many fans, myself included, knew right away they were probably gonna be in the massacre scene. Like, it seemed like they were brought into the show just to be killed off, which obviously takes away from what they intended to do with that scene. DJ, another victim, I would say a strong pick. An ex-savior needed to be in the lineup, and DJ was definitely a good pick. Again, Siddiq's story definitely helped the death be a bit more impactful as well. Next, Frankie. Even though it was just out of the blue and we never really saw her this season until this point, this episode, until she ends up dying, it could be a good pick. Depends though. Depends on how they utilize Negan's connection to her and whether they're gonna include like a scene where they tell Negan what happened to everyone and what happened to her specifically. It'll be great if we see some sort of reaction from Negan in that sense. And maybe they could also have that feed into what Negan might potentially do or end up doing later on and whatnot. Next, Tammy Rose. I would say an excellent choice. Obvious choice, but an excellent choice. Since they build it up the right way and they didn't just give Tammy a pointless story before they killed her off. Her story was interesting and it was done well. Like, her story was impactful in many ways. In general. And it wasn't like they just showed her a couple times before they killed her off so we would know who she is. And the fact that she was raising a little whisperer baby was definitely a cool touch as well. The two teens from the hilltop, they were good picks. They could have picked the other a-hole, but whatever. The two teens at hilltop were definitely good choices. And those choices were definitely on everyone's picks. Not that it was obvious, but it was necessary, I would say. Obvious and necessary. Next up, we have Tara. I would say Tara was a great choice. A great choice. She's the leader of the hilltop, so her death is going to impact a lot of people that live at the hilltop. She was connected to a lot of big characters like Eugene, Rosita, Michonne, Carol, and so on. So her death definitely fits perfectly to move their story forward and to push their story forward. However, one little problem is that we don't have Maggie as the leader at Hilltop, and Jesus died. So we don't have Jesus either. So who's going to become the leader of Hilltop at this point? That's the only thing. We could see Daryl step up to that role, which would be interesting. And also, she's a big enough character for the audience to be hit hard with her death. So a great choice. Then we have Enid. Now for Enid, I thought that was I mean, I would have gone for Alden, but whatever. Enid works too. Last but not least, we have Henry. Now, Henry's death was a huge, massive WTF moment. It was shocking, of course, but come on. You remixed Carl's story and gave his story to Henry. You went out of your way to make Henry the new Carl when it comes to the Whispers arc, only to kill him off when we get into the meat of the story with the Whispers. How does that make sense? Yes, his death hits Daryl, Ezekiel, and especially Carol hard. It's going to impact them the most. But I just thought that they could have utilized him more. They could have utilized him for other stories. They could have used him a little bit more, you know? And plus, how is the Lydia story going to play out now? What are they going to do with that story? How are they going to integrate the Whisperers back into the story? You know what I mean? However, the good thing is that we will see an interesting dynamic between Carol and Lydia from this, and maybe a very interesting story from that. Speaking of Carol, in Henry's death, just a recycled story of Carol losing Sophia? I feel like it is. So it's like recycled material in a way. So that was disappointing a little bit because it seems like we're getting a little bit of recycled material now. Now, I think a better choice would have been to kill the king himself, King Ezekiel. His death in the comics wasn't just shocking and iconic. It helped move the story forward in a very, very interesting way, since he was such a big character that impacted everyone. Plus, in the TV show, the king was the one that hosted the fair. He brought everyone together. His death would have fit so perfectly for everyone just to unite and fight back against the Whisperers. I just think that it was a wasted opportunity not to kill Ezekiel. We could still see it, maybe even in the next episode, but I just thought that, it was a waste of an opportunity not to give him his iconic comic death. They could have at least replaced Henry for Jerry. That would have been a little better as well. But also, aside from the Henry stuff and everyone else that was actually picked, how the hell did nobody from Magna's group die? How? Nobody from the love square of Siddiq, Rosita, Eugene, and Father Gabriel died. How? That was built up so perfectly. What was the point of that story then if none of them were gonna end up dying? Also, nobody died from Alexandria. Really, look at the Pikes. No one from Alexandria is really there. Are you serious? We need to have at least one person from Alexandria. No one from Oceanside died. The point of the lineup in the comics was that it was supposed to hit everyone from each community. That didn't happen in the TV show adaptation, because obviously, like I said, there were many important communities or groups missing. Now again, don't get me wrong. I loved everything about the Pikes scene, from start to finish. I just thought that they could have, and they should have, picked better characters for that scene. But I'm definitely interested to know your opinions. What did you think of the Pikes scene and the selection of the victims? Did you agree with it or did you disagree? That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.